very good evening and a warm welcome to State of Business on Art Television. I'm Samindri Javardhan. Let's look at the headlines for the day. Attorney General informs Speaker not to release forensic audit report on bond scam to parliamentarians. State Minister finds fault of the previous government for delaying the latest Singaporean project. News in detail. Newly appointed opposition leader Sajith Premadasa requests the government to withdraw the much-debated MCC agreement on the February 4th, coinciding with the 72nd Independence Day of Sri Lanka. Meanwhile, the parliamentarians raised questions on Attorney General's request over the Speaker Karu Jayasuriya asking him not to distribute copies of the forensic audit report on the central bank bond scam to all MPs. The adjournment debate on the government policy statement presented by the President Gotabaya Rajapaksa started today. The opposition, led by the United National Front, last Friday called on the Speaker to release the forensic audit report on the bond scam and to table the document in the House without further delay. However, at the commencement of the parliamentary session today, the Speaker informed the House that the Attorney General had written to him stating that it is not suitable to release the forensic audit report on the central bank bond scam to MPs at this moment as the legal process is still ongoing. Meanwhile, pertinent to this Attorney General's request, JVP parliamentarian Bimal Ratnayaka urged the Speaker Karu Jayasuriya to table the document soon, exercising Speaker's power since further delay will help safeguard the major culprits of the bond scam. On the other hand, the highly controversial MCC agreement was also a topic of interest at the parliamentary debates today. The opposition leader Sajith Premadasa asked the newly appointed government to withdraw the MCC agreement on the coming Independence Day. Meanwhile, in response, State Minister of Power Mahindananda Alutgamage noted that the MCC agreement, which was brought to forefront by the previous government, in which the current opposition leader was part of, will not be signed. This was further accorded by the Development Banks and Loan Scheme State Minister Shahan Semasinghe. On the other hand, TNA parliamentarian M.A. Sumandiran stressed that the policy statement of the President Gotabaya Rajapaksa is partial to the requirements of the majoritarian rule and that this stance should be changed if the national security is a key objective in President's policy statement.
The statement on government policy as laid out by His Excellency Gotabaya Rajapaksa on 3rd of January 2020 is one that needs to be discussed very seriously as it signals an important paradigm shift from the general direction successive governments have pursued in the last 3 decades. November 16, 2019 gave the President a decisive victory. But what is troubling about this big victory is that no community other than the majority Sinhala Buddhist people of this country were prepared to repose any confidence in him. I am not saying this to cast any aspersions on the President himself, but only in order to flag a very important factor that we cannot ignore if we are serious about national reconciliation and moving forward as a country. The test of popularity of a leader of a country is not whether his own people have confidence in him, but whether the other peoples are prepared to place their trust in him. Sadly, this was found wanting. The President himself showed that he is conscious of this fact in the 2 comments he made after his victory. His Excellency spelled this out at his oath-taking ceremony at Ruwanwelly when he acknowledged this fact, but very correctly added that he is President for the whole country, even of those who did not vote for him. We expected His Excellency to take steps to breach this gap by recognizing that our country is rich in diversity with people of different races, religions, languages and cultures. The equal status of each of these peoples is not dependent on their respective numerical strength. This principle must be acknowledged if our democracy is to survive and indeed flourish.
Meanwhile, UNP leader Ranil Wickremesinghe, raising a point of order, requested Speaker Karu Jayasuriya to ask the police for an independent inquiry over the arrested audio CDs from the official residence of former Deputy Minister Ranjan Ramnayaka.
Speaker to ask from the police, get hold of these CDs, he can inspect it in regard to members of parliament and other issues, and if anyone has violated any law, let this House know.
Information and Communication Technology State Minister Lakshman Yapa Abeyewardene finds fault of the previous government for delaying the project by a Singaporean company to build a 30-story commercial tower and over 600 residential units at Baladaksha Mawatha in Colombo. State Minister made these observations, clarifying over the criticisms by the opposition and several other sections of the society who were leasing out a 3 acres land to a Singaporean company for a mega development project. State Minister of Information and Communication Technology Lakshman Yapa Abeyewardene had a media briefing this morning and said that a Singaporean company named Perennial Real Estate Holdings Limited had submitted a proposal to the Ministry of Defence for a mega development project on a 3-acre land between Bear Lake and Shangri-La Hotel, Colombo. State Minister Abeyewardene said that the proposal, which came up in 2016, had been neglected by the previous government, and present government updated the project to build around 700 residential units, a 30-storied commercial tower, and retail food and beverage area. He also said that the initial investment of $202 million was increased to $250 million and the time period was also increased to 6 years from 4 years.
මේක ඉතාමත්ම විනිවිදභාවයෙන් කරපු වැඩක් කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයේ අනුමැතිය අරගෙන ආයෝජනයට
This was done in a very transparent manner. The Cabinet of the Ministers approved it after studying the project. There is no any obstacle to proceed with the project. The country needs investments. We need to increase direct foreign investments to strengthen the economy. We have no any clue why the project was delayed by the previous government. The initial request for the project has been done in 2016 and an estimate was also done in 2017. However, we went for a new estimate before the new MOU. The agreement is not yet signed, but it will be signed at the end of January after the full amount was paid to Sri Lankan government. The company has to begin the project by March. The Board of Investment had okayed this project after following all the rules and regulations.
Development Banks and Loan Scheme State Minister Shehan Semasinga requests the President Gotabaya Rajapaksa to appoint a commission to inquire on parliamentarian Ranjan Ramanayaka's leaked calls claiming that Ramanayaka has executed power on executive, parliament and judiciary. State Minister Semasinga made these views addressing a media briefing held at the Temple Trees today.
With regards to Ranjan Ramanayaka, Member of Parliament, we can see there are certain evidences are coming out, especially on social media. I think we hope the President will intervene, and we request the President that he should appoint a commission to investigate into this matter. Because in this case, it is very clearly stated that Ranjan Ramanayaka has been the coordinator between the executive, the Parliament and the judiciary. And he has insulted the judiciary too in many occasions. But now we can see that the previous government, actually we would like to question them, have they done justice to the mandate they got in 2015? Have they protected independence of judiciary as per the mandate they got in 2015? So we can see the previous government, including Ranjan Ramanayaka, the Prime Minister, they have all taken people whom they thought should be in jail with regards to political reasons, should be in jail, and the others can be out. So it is very pathetic that a government selects certain people, certain politicians that should be in jail and who should be out. I think that is not what citizens of Sri Lanka or any other country expects from a government to do. And also we hope to make a request to the Chief Government Whip that we need to hold a discussion on this in Parliament. We need a debate, because this is not something that could be taken simply.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa directs officials to grant approval for properly drafted housing and small-scale business construction plans within a day. President Rajapaksa made these directives during a meeting with the officials affiliated to the Ministry of Urban Development, Water Supply and Housing Facilities, which was held at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday. Accordingly, during the discussions with the officials, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa emphasized that it is required to simplify the existing rules and regulations pertaining to the approving construction plans. President also directed that an official with a legal background should be appointed to grant approval plans in the waiting list, and issuing conformity certificate in a day was made mandatory. The necessity of granting loans at a concession rate with a long repayment period for those who are purchasing a house for the first time was also discussed. On the other hand, during the discussion, special attention was drawn to waste management, and President informed the relevant officials to take steps to transform waste into organic fertilizer and use technology to the maximum during the process. Meanwhile, President also directed to expedite Veera's Ganga project and beautification of cities. Stay tuned for more news right after this break. Welcome back after the break. Central Bank Governor Professor W.D. Lakshman says Sri Lanka will enact a new banking act in next year and that regulations will be introduced to supervise the banks that are set up in the Colombo International Financial Centre. Central Bank Governor Professor Lakshman made these observations announcing the roadmap for 2020 at the Central Bank premises yesterday.
The Central Bank initiated drafting a new banking act and expects to complete its enactment in 2021. Key concepts of the proposed act include provisions to introduce a single type of banking license for licensed commercial banks and licensed specialized banks, adoption of proportionality in banking regulations commensurate with bank size, its nature of operations, etc., subsidiarization of banks incorporated outside Sri Lanka, and allowing to ring-fence subsidiaries from adverse external shocks, streamlining approval for establishment of branches and other banking outlets, strengthening consumer protection, deposit insurance and governance, amalgamating both offshore banking unit and domestic banking unit operations into a single banking business, and improving resolution enforcement and supervisory sections. Further, the new Banking Act will contain provisions to extend regulations for banks which are to be established in the Colombo International Financial Centre.
Speaking further on central bank stance towards international monetary agencies, central bank governor added that the CBSL will engage with the IMF and other international agencies aligned with the overall national policy framework.
During the year 2019, Sri Lanka went through the 5th and 6th reviews of the extended fund facility of the International Monetary Fund. This was done successfully and Sri Lanka received the 6th and 7th tranches of disbursements. We hope to engage with the IMF and other international agencies, remaining within the overall national policy framework, negotiating for changes in the IMF program where changes are considered required.
Senior advisor on economic affairs to the Prime Minister and former Central Bank Governor Ajit Niwad Cabral stresses that new government should severely punish each culprit linked to the central bank bond scam and be named and shamed irrespective to the high-profile statuses they hold. Cabral made these observations launching his new book titled The Great Bond Scam Cover-Up, the Mother of All Cover-Ups in Colombo recently.
So what should you do if you catch them? Remove their civic rights. Of course, punish them criminally according to the law, but at least don't allow them to come and do it again. Can we do it again? So I'm suggesting that we strip them of their civic rights so that they are unable to carry out these kinds of things ever again. So the new government has a responsibility. You may say I'm also a part of the new government. Yes, I am. Although I'm in advisory capacity, I will have to give advice. So here's some advice that I'm going to give the new government. Advice is identify and punish all perpetrators and accomplices of the bond scam without limiting the punishment only to the errant governor and the few PTL officials. Extend it. Take the net out. Take all who are responsible and prosecute them. Recover the ill-gotten gains earned and enjoyed by the bond scam perpetrators and their accomplices. Name and shame all who have aided and abetted the commission and the cover-up, which is also as bad. Doing the bond scam is one thing, covering up is also bad, terribly bad. Find out who they are, name and shame them. Mitigate and stop the continuing losses that are being suffered by the government, the economy, and the people as a consequence of the bond scams.
Speaking further, senior economic advisor to the Prime Minister, Ajit Niwad Cabral, said the forensic audit did nothing but safeguarded the mastermind and the scam's wrongdoers. Moreover, Cabral highlighted that necessary administrative procedures and governance structures should be implemented to prevent political interference in technical subjects such as the bond issuance procedure of the CBSL.
Implement the required administrative procedures and governance structures to prevent political interference in the technical subjects such as bond issuing procedure of the central bank. People from the politicians need not get involved in that. That's a technical job. When you have a procurement, you don't have a politician coming and fingering into that. It is the job of the technicians. They have to do that. And that was being done at the central bank for 18 long years. Perfectly done. There were no allegations whatsoever. And that was changed. And importantly here, ascertain whether the funds earned through the bond scam were used to finance the election campaigns of certain politicians and name such politicians.
Stay tuned for stock updates right after this break. Welcome back after the break. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a negative note today. The all-share price index dropped 43.84 points to close at 6,026.09 and the S&P SL20 dropped 35.8 points to close at 2,857.99. The turnover was 1.4 billion rupees and over 34 million shares were traded. Up next are forex rates. And that's it for the day. From today onwards, our distinguished viewers are given an opportunity to send your feedback over your daily business lineup, State of Business. We invite you to send us your comments, ideas and views to newsmanager@rtvlk.com. You are also free to talk to us on 011 5394 307. And that's it for the day. See you tomorrow with State of Business. Until then, take care. Good night.